Welcome back to the Positive Money Project. Today, we're going to be talking to Nicolette about her financial roadmap and what she plans to do with her finances moving forward in preparation for retirement and planning for her daughter's college education. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Positive Money Project. Today, we are here with Nicolette, who has 5 figures of consumer debt. She is trying to pay for her daughters to go to college, and she is also hoping to retire at a reasonable age. So today we're going to talk to Nicolette about her personal financial roadmap and some suggestions on how she can achieve all of these goals.
Yes, let's do it.
Hey Nicolette, how are you doing today?
I'm doing so good. I'm so excited to be here. I have to admit that I'm feeling a little nervous just because, giving you all of my money information and then
Yes.
having to bring it up and look
Mhm.
into it and do the
Yeah.
research behind it and to find everything and then to put everything in one place.
Yeah.
Girl, it was a lot. And the thing is that it's not the doing that's a lot. It's the
Mhm.
emotional stuff that
Yes,
comes up
yes,
that ends
yes.
up being a lot. And I have to admit, y'all, I took a really long time getting her that information because of the feelings that I was having and
Mhm.
just putting it off and putting it
Yeah.
off and putting it off and not getting to a place where I'm like, oh, I'm putting this off because it's embarrassing and it's
Yeah.
hard and
Mhm.
you go back to the moments where you decided to make those crazy decisions
Yeah.
and anyway. But I am really happy that I did it and I'm excited.
Yes,
So
I'm so
thank you.
happy for you. And I am so glad that you bring that up because that is a very common response. And a lot of us are not struggling financially because we don't know what we're doing or we, haven't listened to the podcast and read the books. It's a lot of it is just internally, it's mentally, it's getting over the psychological barriers that hold us back, that either bring that shame or that guilt or, buyer's remorse. And it's human nature to want to avoid all of those feelings and, just put it to the side and kick it under the rug
Yeah, forget
instead.
it's there.
Yes. So the fact that you took that first step, the fact that you're here today and allowing me to coach you through this, it's all amazing. And just be proud of yourself, you did it.
I did do
You
it.
took the first step,
Yes.
and now we're going to talk through some of
Okay.
the other recommended steps that I recommend that you take next.
Okay.
And you got this.
Okay.
Okay, so let's dive into it.
All right.
So today we're going to talk about the snapshot of your current financial situation, what you went through, the inventory you took of your finances, and where you stand today.
Okay.
We're also going to talk about your vision for the future.
Yes.
When thinking about your financial future, it's always important to think about your life vision, what you want out of this life, and how money can be used as a tool to help get you there. So that's what we're going to go through.
Okay.
And obviously, of course, my recommendations
Yes.
on, step by step, how to get you from where you are now to where you envision your best life. Okay, so here is your current financial situation in a snapshot.
All right.
Your current net worth is about negative 115,000.
Sorry, y'all.
Don't apologize, girl. Stop apologizing. Okay. Stop apologizing.
Stop apologizing.
You are where you are.
Right.
And where you begin is not where you're going to end up.
Okay.
But this is just the reality of the situation. And you've been doing the best you can. You had some COVID setbacks.
Very much so.
Yeah, you are a small business owner.
Yes, and being both my husband and I being in the hospitality industry with COVID, that was a rough one. And then also not being able to, I didn't tell you, being able to say no to the kids, right? And that sort of thing, and not having those conversations. Okay.
We're going to talk about that too.
Yes.
But you do have some assets. You got approximately $3,500, between your checking and your IRA that you started, which you've already taken a good first step with your IRA.
Yes, and you need to help me to make more steps.
Yes. We're going to do that. We're going to do that. But you have that open and you have it in an account now. I know it was sitting dormant for a little while, but that was a big also
that was how I met her, guys. On my massage table, her talking to me about her passion for money and making sure that people are living their best life. And she's the one that got me to take that IRA that was in holding into a place where it could actually start making money. So,
Yes, and it was a good first step. I went into that massage that day thinking, I think I might just fall asleep during this massage. I'm so tired. And then she was like, wait, you're a money coach? And of course, when someone mentions that, I can't shut up. So, but you took that first step, and that's huge, which means like it gives you momentum, right? Like if you can take that one step and it wasn't scary and you're glad you took it in hindsight.
I did. Yeah, I am.
When you go into all the next steps, you can just frame it like that.
Yes.
And it might be a little bit easier.
Right. I'm ready though.
Good. Okay, so you have your assets. You also have a lot of liabilities. So the liabilities is mostly credit card debt, and then a little bit, you have like a personal loan, some different consumer debt, as well as the money that you owe in back taxes, which we're going to talk a little bit more about later. And then on your cash flow side, you have approximately $7,000 to $9,000 in income monthly, and that fluctuates based on the fact that you are a business owner, and it can go up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does that $7,000 to $9,000, does that include your husband's income as well?
No.
Okay, that's great.
Bringing his in after taxes and everything, he adds like $4,000 to that.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
That's
and
great.
that's like steady.
Yes, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about how to budget for unpredictable income, right? So if you have this range, you do have some steady income with your husband, and you kind of have like a minimum, like the $7,000 is usually the minimum that you bring.
Right.
So we want to talk about how to deal with that as well.
Okay.
And then on the expense side, you weren't able to get the budget. No, it's okay. You weren't able to get the budget spreadsheet done in time for this recording, but you're working on it.
Yeah.
And we're going to kind of go through how to, budget the money that you do have, the income that you do have, and how to leverage that to reach your goals.
Okay. Sounds good.
So whenever you get that, budget going, we can try to balance that, right?
Okay.
And the big thing here is your expenses need to be less than your income. Always.
I mean, I know that, but is that the truth, y'all? Is that the truth?
In theory, that's how it should go. That's how it should go. Okay, so let's talk about your vision. We got the snapshot of where you are. Let's talk about where you're going.
Okay. So what I see, or what I hope to happen, or what is gonna happen.
Yes.
Right?
There we go.
In my future, I would say in the next year would be to get what you have planned for me and our family in terms of the finances.
Which you have planned for you.
What I have planned for me, and to like move that into position, right?
Perfect.
And get that going. And then in the next 1 to 3 is to pay off all of the credit card debt.
Yep.
Because I want to be able to, my oldest child is going to be going to college in 3 years. Yeah. And I want to be able to at least help her as much as I can. And I felt like if I can get rid of the debt, it obviously, like, that's obvious. It would free up, right?
Money.
So that maybe I can help her more than we thought that we would be able to.
Right.
And within that time, also slowly but surely, hopefully, put money away into retirement, maybe even save up for her to go to college just a little bit, at least that first year, so I don't have to be scrambling, right? And then I was thinking like I wanted vacations, but I'm like, maybe that's just not going to be in the cards for the next 1 to 3, you know? And I'm okay with that if that's the case.
And when you create your budget based on, keeping the income above the expenses, you can make those trade-off decisions, right? Like I know you said you were looking to take 3 big trips a year.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 2 or maybe it's 1,
right?
For the, until she's in college.
Yeah.
But that's like up to you, right?
Yeah.
Up to you and your husband to like decide how you want to allocate this money.
Right. Yeah. And so, and then the next one goes to college, I don't know, in 9 years? In 9 years.
Okay.
And so just like a little bit of like saving into that so that we don't have to be how we are probably going to be in regards to my oldest and when she goes to college, let it be a little easier. Yeah, the goals are
Those
really
are
simple.
goals.
Debt-free,
retirement,
1,
potential tiny home in retirement.
potential tiny home.
Or,
Um,
whatever you guys decide, right?
yeah,
When you get to that
yeah.
point, it's
Because
still a
then
while
that's the other
away.
question, right? Is like we've talked about this before. It's like
Hmm.
how much am I really gonna need in
Hmm.
retirement?
Yeah.
They push out all these different numbers, a
Yeah.
million, 2 million, 3 million, and I'm like, fuck, can I curse? I don't know if I could do that, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, these just simple plans,
Yep.
I feel like are things that are the most important to
Hmm.
me, and the things that I want to have get
Yes.
done. And then any additional stuff will be
Be
the additional
extra.
stuff. Yeah.
Right. And this is your why, right?
Yeah.
This is what you need to come back to when you're thinking about, like, I really don't want to call this bank.
Yeah.
I really don't want to negotiate these interest rates.
You are gonna do what to me?
You don't, obviously, like,
Wait,
progress can be painful, but
You gonna make me talk to people?
okay, we're gonna
Oh
get there,
my
girlfriend.
god.
We're gonna get there.
Okay.
But when you're pushing through that, like when you called about your IRA and you're pushing through that, you're like,
Yes.
I'm doing this for the girls. I'm doing this for the retirement. I'm doing this for my long-term goals.
Right.
It's really important to have a strong why. And, as a mom, your why is there, right? Your why is pretty strong, right?
Yeah.
And you just got to keep that forefront in your minds when you're doing the hard things, because you can do hard things. You can do
I can do hard things.
You can do hard things. Okay, so I have a 7-step recommendation for you. And I know it sounds like a lot of steps, but this is 7 steps from now until 2030.
Okay.
So it's over the next 5 years.
Mhm.
We got a 7-step game plan.
Okay.
And I'm going to go through each of these in detail, but step 1 is to get crystal clear on your cash flow, which includes the budget. It includes figuring out what's coming in every month and what's going out, and budgeting based on that $7,000 a month. Because that $9,000 a month, the months you get that's amazing, but that's not always guaranteed.
Right.
And because you have a lot of debt and you have a like very big savings goals, as a lot of us do, that $2,000 can go to that when it comes, right? That extra money can go in the beginning all on your debt, and then eventually all toward your savings, toward your retirement, toward the girls' college. And you won't have to, fret on the months that you're at that $7,000 income mark, because you're not budgeting for that. That's going toward your big goals in the end of the day.
Okay.
And then step 2 is going to be to establish your sustainable tax planning. Because you're a business owner and
Girl.
the misstep with the IRA, it happens to the best of us. But what we want to do is make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk through that. And then obviously the elephant, the debt, payoff. And then step 4 is going to be to build your safety net. It's going to be to really, a lot of times, like, this credit card debt exists because you are pulling on those credit cards when you're like, oh, it's not a $9,000 a month, it's a $7,000 a month. Let me use the credit cards.
Yeah. So
we're going to talk about how to stop using the cards, because that's the only way you're ever going to get out of it, is if you cut that off. And then once that's done, we're going to talk about investing. So people call it saving, but I'm saying investing. We're going to invest for retirement, and we're going to invest for college. And, there's going to be some overlap there where I'm a big believer in, like, you don't really need to pay off all your debt before you start investing, because you're missing out on market gains. Yeah. You're missing out on compound interest. So we do want to start that sooner than later as well, even though your debt is significant. And then we're going to talk about your debt-free life and how to switch gears once the debt is paid off and the college and retirement savings and investing amps up to the max.
Okay.
And that's when, and that's going to be a celebration.
Yes.
When we get
I feel like each step is going to be a celebration.
It is. Yes. There we go. That's a great mindset. Okay. So crystal clear on the cash flow. And, these are really detailed recommendations that I'm going to send to you later. But at a high level, the things that we're going to start with is tracking that budget. Track what you spent last month. See where you can make cuts and how you can move forward at that $7,000 a month spending limit, plus whatever your husband is bringing in. And I know you guys have your finances separate right now, but it's really important to have, like, a common understanding, because you have so many common goals, right? So who's paying what? How much can he afford to contribute to the retirement and to the college when you get to that point? So I would recommend going through the budget with him. And even if your budgets are separate, and you're pulling your money together at some point, like have that understanding of who's contributing what. So that way there's no surprises
Okay.
at the end of the day. And include joy in your budget, right? Like
Joy. No, you're right though.
Like,
You're right
we
though.
want a budget.
I have been changing my thought process. Is that the right word I'm using? So like when I would pay a bill, I would look at the amount. It would be a thought, or the feeling would be like a lack or a loss, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm teaching myself to feel like, oh my God, thank God I have that money. And like what a blessing it is. And thank you to my clients that I have that money to be able to pay this bill.
Oh,
you know?
that's such a great mindset shift.
Thanks.
I love that.
Yeah, but I got to talk to myself each and every time.
I know how it is. And that's amazing. That's a great mindset shift. But also joy as in, your vacations, right? Have your little vacation fund that you contribute to every month. And like, this is something that I'm looking forward to.
Right.
I'm transferring money in here.
Yes.
Because it's going to be good for me and my family. And then, you want to have like Friday movie night with the girls, like budget for that. Put it in there. Like, this is a non-negotiable, whatever it might be that brings you joy, is important to your family and, is something that is like, oh, do I really need to be spending money on this? Like, obviously, like when you have big goals like this, getting out of debt and all of these investing goals, you're not going to be able to do everything all the time. So learning to say no is important, but also having the things that are your big yeses that are aligned with your why are also super important. Because when we cut all those things out of our budget and out of our lives, we don't want to stick with it, right?
It's true. I've tried all the things.
Yes.
Yes.
We don't want to stick with it when it's too stringent. So you got to make sure there is some happiness in your budget, right? But budget for it.
Yeah.
And so that way it's not a surprise. It's not on a whim. It's like, here are the things we're doing and it's in the budget and I feel good about it. Okay. So this is the crystal clear on the cash flow. The last thing I'll mention here is that you got to build up a little mini emergency buffer. Because I recommend this because it's another way to prevent you from going into the cards. Obviously, as I'll talk about a little bit later, like you got to pay the cards down and stop using them. It's going to be really hard to stop using them if you're using them as your emergency fund. If oh shoot, this bill came in the mail I wasn't expecting, let me put it on the credit card.
Yep.
Oop, we didn't, I thought I had, enough groceries, but we got to make one more grocery run this month. I'm putting it on the credit card. Things are going to come up, especially when you have a family. But you just got to make sure that you have like the back savings for that so that you don't have to add to the cards.
Yeah. It's, like all things that you like know, but then to hear it feels different. Anyway, go ahead.
It does feel different when it's in the context of you personally. Yeah. But it's, you got to keep that why in mind.
Right. The why is the important thing, right? Yeah.
Okay. And then the next thing we're going to focus on, once you have your emergency fund built up, is your sustainable tax planning and your systems that you have in place. And I know you had the issue with the IRS, where you had some back taxes because the way you were collecting income or revenue from your clients wasn't you weren't taking taxes out.
Sales tax.
Yep.
I had that. And then also the first year of starting the business, knew nothing about how to like allocate how much to whatever. And then tax time coming and being like, wow, you owe $18,000. And, having a little bit of it, but not enough to pay it all off.
Right.
And then having to go into like, okay, Mr. Taxman, can I just pay this, every month for the rest of my fucking life? You know what I mean? So
it's stressful.
It is stressful.
It's stressful.
Yeah.
But you figured it out. Did you set up a tax?
I did.
And you set up a payment plan, right?
Yes, set up a payment plan. Great. Everybody's getting their money.
Perfect.
Perfect. And also being able to finally figured out like what is the every year taxes that are being taken out for the most part, and trying to figure out actually with your help hopefully on how how to do that, right? It's $18,000
Right.
and like, do I take out 1,500 every month and put
Yeah.
that away?
Yep.
Or do I do it quarterly and just like stack
Yeah.
and then give it to them?
Exactly.
And like what might be better for me? I'm
Yeah.
thinking the 1,500 a month
Yeah.
and just giving it to them
Mhm.
might be the better thing. The stacking feels like it is stressful, and also
Mhm.
it leaves me to be like, it makes me mad.
So I will say, like, it's up to you. It
Right.
depends on you, right?
Yeah.
Some people do it monthly, some people do it quarterly.
Right.
And yes, we can like dive deeper into that in a
Okay.
future session. Or I don't know
Yes.
if you have a CPA, a tax plan, or anything like that.
I do.
But you can work with them as well to figure
Right.
out what the best approach is there. But monthly, quarterly, it's really up to you. The important thing is, if the sales tax is 25%, you got to take that 25% every time you make $1. 25% of that needs to go, or whatever the tax rate is,
Yeah.
needs to go away.
Yeah.
It's not yours.
Yeah.
It's the government's.
Well, I be feeling like it's mine and they're taking my shit.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
I think
And,
that's the next
a common response. We all hate taxes. Like, don't get me wrong.
that's the next perspective change I'm going to have to make.
I mean, the disdain of the tax system is like we can have a whole nother episode on that. But at the end of the day, those only two things that are guaranteed in life is death and taxes. So we got to make it happen, because we know that they're going to come after you later if not.
Yeah.
So that being said, just put it away.
Mhm.
And I would recommend, putting it into an investment account, honestly, or a high yield savings account. That way it's earning interest. So you're still making money on that money in the meantime until the bill is due, right? But if that is too much of a mental, sort of block, or you're just going to it's going to upset you, or you're going to end up spending it or anything like that, then maybe that's not the best approach for you. I'm a big believer in the psychology of money is also really important. So just because the interest rate is X doesn't mean that that's the best approach for you.
Right.
But that's, something to reflect on and figure out a plan on. I'm happy to help, obviously.
Thank you. Thanks, boo.
Yeah, girl. And so you do have a CPA that's helping you file the taxes right
Mhm.
now, which I think is amazing.
Yeah.
And another thing is, I guess the final thing on this point is to separate your business and personal finances to the best of your ability. And that I know is going to be.
I was doing that. And then
Mhm.
this year, for some reason, it's just like,
It's all commingled.
yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It really is bad. I'm going to get back on that, though.
Yeah.
I'm going to get back on it.
I recommend it. And your CPA can help with this. You're paying a CPA to help you file your taxes.
Right.
They can help you unmingle it and get that going sustainably in the future.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about the next step, which is the debt payoff.
Okay.
Right? So I have a snapshot here of all of your outstanding balances, as well as the interest rates and minimum payments. And it looks like you're paying at least $1,000 a month on just the minimum payments attacking this debt. And so there's really two big debt payoff. And I'm sure you know this because you you have read and listened to all of the financial gurus. But there's really two main ways to pay off the debt that's recommended or that's commonplace, which is the snowball and the avalanche.
Right.
The snowball obviously is paying it from the smallest outstanding balance to the largest.
Right.
And then the avalanche is highest interest rate to lowest interest rate. And the avalanche really just helps save you interest payments in the future. And for you, I mean, it's up to you, but based on our discussions, based on the questionnaires you filled out and sort of your attitude toward finances, I usually would recommend the avalanche approach. But for you, I think the snowball would honestly be better. Okay. Because the psychological wins that you're going to get, and you have a lot of cards. I think you have like 12 credit cards.
So many. You don't have to tell them that.
Yeah,
though.
I'm sorry.
I'm just joking.
We can cut that out.
No, I'm just joking. All good, because I know y'all got more than me. Okay.
Between you and your husband. So I think if we can get some psychological wins of paying off the lower balances, cutting the card up, and getting rid of it, it would really be helpful for you to do and to get those psychological wins. That being said, I think because there's so many different outstanding cards, and a lot of them have like
Low
$1,000.
balances,
Yeah,
right?
very low balances. You can use the snowball method to pay those off and just toss the cards in the closet. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Rainy day.
Yeah.
Or not a rainy day. We're gonna be using your emergency fund for the rainy
Well,
day.
I was
But
gonna say, I'm like, I that's another piece of advice that I
Mhm.
hope you can give later on. But like, what of the 10,000 cards we have,
Yes.
like, what three, you know what I mean,
Yes.
should we actually keep, or
Mhm.
maybe which one should we get that
Right.
will help us,
Mhm.
for
Yep.
in that realm.
Um, yeah, it depends on your lifestyle, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you don't really need that many cards,
Mm-hmm.
but you definitely should not be closing cards that you've had for a really long time, especially your oldest card.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you close your oldest line of credit, it reduces the length of your credit history. And that will negatively impact your credit score. It's true. And a lot of
Okay.
people make this mistake
Yes.
and close their oldest card, and your
Yeah,
credit
because you're
history,
excited. You're like, oh, I
like, I'm
paid
gonna
this
pay off.
off. Yes,
Yeah.
gone.
Right. And so we can strategically go through each card, the credit limits, the benefits it's giving you, because a lot of these cards do pay cash back. They do give you travel reward points, right? Things that you, with your lifestyle, could be beneficial to you, could save you money in the long run. The problem isn't always the card itself, it's the way we're using the card.
It's the people.
Right?
Okay.
And in your
You're
case,
right.
yes, maybe it does make sense to close a couple of them, just because there's so many and we don't want that temptation, right? And it's a lot to keep track of too. It makes your finances more complicated. But I definitely don't recommend closing any cards that are your oldest cards and ones that are providing you with rewards that are beneficial to you. So we can go through that in more detail when we get to this step in real life. But that's sort of like the overall recommendation that I would have. So with your $7,000 to $9,000 income range, it would take, if you kept your the cards that you have now and making the minimum payments, it's going to be at least $1,500 a month to make the minimum payments and the interest rates and the interest payments on top of that. And it's going to take you
1,000
more
years.
than 3 years. I'm just going to say more than 3 years, according to my calculations, to pay that down. So one other thing that I recommend doing is considering a debt consolidation loan. A lot of your cards have interest rates in the high 20s and low 30s% APR. Depending on your credit score, you and your husband's, combined credit scores and you sort of debt capacity, you can get a consolidation loan that's in the still double digits, but maybe it's 10-15%, which is a lot lower than a lot of your cards. If you take this approach, though, it's really important to pay off the cards in full and don't put any more money on the cards. So we can also talk about strategically how to decide which cards, like maybe you can't get a loan to cover all of them. Maybe you can. Does it make sense what the interest rate is? This is going to be pretty specific to you and what you're eligible for. But there's, even though interest rates have been going a little bit higher nowadays, like there's still some really good options out there on the market. And we can talk more about that as well. But this could be a good option if you are willing to get rid of the cards and stop using the cards. Because a really big pitfall here is to take out that debt consolidation loan and then continue using the cards, and now you've doubled your debt. So we want to avoid that.
Yes, we do.
But given the fact that your interest rates are so high, it might be a good idea for you. And then, once we decide on the loan, once we decide on, the approach with the debt snowball, because maybe it's like the three lowest balances, you're like, I'm going to debt snowball those. The rest, I'm going to get a debt consolidation loan for. And then you have that automatic payment. And so that's like the next thing is setting up those automatic payments. Once you have your budget and you know how much you can afford to put each month toward the debt, set up those automatic payments so that you don't even have to think about it. You think about it once and get over that mental block when you set up the automatic transfer, and then it's just set it and forget it. And that way it's going down and you wake up and you check it and you're like, oh, it's going down. It's going down. And you don't
Right.
have to do anything, right?
Right.
Because you don't want to have to wake up and be like, I have to make my debt payment today. I'm feeling anxious. I'm mad that I have to make the debt payment.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like it's happening in the background
Mm-hmm.
based on your budget that you've created, based on your life priorities, and you don't have to worry about it. And all of this, I recommend, like I mentioned with the budget, set to the $7,000, the debt pay down as well. The debt pay down should also be included within that $7,000 income. And anything extra that you make, you can divvy it up, right? Is this going to be my joy money? Is this going to be my extra payoff on the debt money? Or is this going to be money that I'm contributing to the investments that I want, the college, the retirement? And that way you don't ever have to stress, because if you set your budget to the $9,000 and you have a $7,000 a month, you're gonna immediately have anxiety.
Yeah.
So once you have the debt payments set up, the next step is to build your safety net.
Right.
And your safety net is another way to reduce that financial anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, I get that too. Like when I'm not making the money that I was expecting, or I have to like use my money for something that came out of nowhere, it happens to all of us. We get that financial anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a safety net in place, you have less of that. You know, it still might be a little stressful to have to pay a bill that wasn't planned, or, you know, find out you owe back taxes. But it's going to be a lot less of that if you have your safety net in place. And so what do I mean by the safety net? You're going to take that mini emergency fund that you built, that like sort of buffer, that $1,500 that I recommended, and you're going to grow that to be 3 to 6 or even 9 months of expenses. And this is good. That way you don't need the cards, right? Like the cards are going away. We're going to cut them up.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to keep a couple.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to cut up all of them.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to keep a couple just in case. But you're going to then take that emergency fund and build it up. So that way when you know, I don't know, your roof starts leaking or whatever, you have to move suddenly because something happened. You don't have to use the credit cards. You can be like, I have this emergency fund and this is what this is for.
Mm-hmm.
So it just prevents you from backtracking
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, having setbacks that are so big that it discourages you from even moving forward. And then I guess along those same lines, creating sinking funds. Do you know what sinking funds are?
No.
It's a fancy word for fund, like savings that are specific to a goal.
Okay.
And essentially what this is a sinking fund for your yearly holiday, your yearly vacation, your trips with your family. A savings account or an investment account specifically for that. A savings and an investment account specifically for your tiny home or whatever it is that you might want to do for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big one for families.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the holidays can be a time where you're just spending a ton of money out of nowhere. You're like, I don't know where I'm gonna get it from, but the girls need this, that, the other, back to school. So maybe a back to school savings fund, a Christmas savings fund, and a vacation savings fund. And also set up transfers, automatic transfers for those based on the budget that you create or that we can create together. Right. And that will guarantee like you don't have to stress when Christmas is coming how you're going to pay for it. You don't have to stress when back to school is coming, how you're going to come up with the money to get shoes and clothes and everything else.
And this is all within my $7,000.
All within your $7,000. But your $7,000, it sounds tight right now because you have a lot of your money is going to debt. Right. But it's going to get easier and easier. The lower your debt gets, the more you're going to have for you and your family and your goals. Right.
I have to remember that. Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be tough at first. I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lie. But the fact that you want to pay the debt off so aggressively, you got to decide, like, is that realistic, right?
Yeah.
Within your budget.
Right.
And, you know, maybe it is. Maybe you can make cuts and sacrifices to make it happen. Or maybe you realize paying the debt off in 3 years is not realistic for me based on what I'm going to have to pay. I'm going to do a 5-year debt payoff goal instead, you know?
Right.
And so that's just something you have to think about with your budget and with your expenses.
Okay.
The next step, once you get that going.
Mm-hmm. So once I get all of the things, the debt payoff already
this is next year. We're talking 2026.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about investing, right? I do think you should start contributing something to your retirement starting today, starting this week, simply because you don't know where the markets are going, right? You saw on like this past week, the markets
Yeah, do
plummeted
I really
based
want
on
to
a
put my
political
money in it right now? But
based on a
okay,
political
yes.
announcement.
Right.
Yeah, the markets are all over the place.
Okay.
And the thing with the markets are we don't know. Nobody knows. Pundits say they know. They have best guesses. There's a lot of analytical techniques to try and predict, but the future is unknown regardless, right? We don't know if it's going to go up. We don't know if it's going to go down. The thing with that is if you're investing small amounts over time continuously, regardless of what the markets are doing, regardless of what the politics are politicking, you're always going to be in a place where it evens out in the end, right? We're not dumping 20 grand in the market today and then it plummets tomorrow and then and you lose it all, right? You're investing $50 a week or $100 a month or whatever it is that you can swing with your current budget, because the market growth and the compound interest that you're going to get over time from doing that is going to offset any big market swings that we see. And it's going to give you that time value of money effect where you're investing it now and you're allowing it to grow. If you try, it's compounding. If you try to just, sort of wait until to invest for retirement once the girls are in college, you're going to have to put in so much more of your own money because it doesn't have the time to grow.
Right.
And that's the key. And I know this might be hard to hear, but the priority order is your retirement first. Your and your husband's retirement first. I'm gonna pause there because I know that's not what you want to hear.
Okay. Talk to me.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Yes.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
Because you cannot retire on your daughter's college degree. You don't know what's gonna happen. Both of you and your husband have jobs where you are physically doing things. You're a massage therapist. I saw how hard you work. It felt great. And you're assuming that you're going to be able to do that forever. You might not. And that just goes for all of us. It doesn't have to be like a physically intensive job. Like we don't know how long we're going to be able to work, right? So we want to get that money in there now. We want to get it growing, like I mentioned before. You can always, the girls start college, you reduce your retirement savings those 3 years when it's time, right? According to your budget at that point of time, and help them more. They can always take out loans. Obviously, you don't want them to be drowning in student loan debt, but they can supplement what you are able to save for them with loans. You can't take loans out for retirement. They could get a scholarship. They could get a full ride scholarship, and all your investments are in their 529 plans, their college savings plans. You can't take that money and retire on it. So, I mean, they can take it and roll it over to retire later, but they got time,
They can? So the 529, it's just for school.
It is for school, but you can now, if they don't use it for school, they can roll it over into an IRA.
Really?
Yes.
When did
and that's
that
another
happen?
Thing. I think that was new. I think that was like last year they changed the rule. Yep. But essentially that was going to be my recommendation for their college saving is to do a 529 plan, because if they get full ride scholarship, and I know your girls are smart. I know they're in private school. I know they're
and I'm spending all the money.
Brainiacs. And, if they get a full ride scholarship or, a partial ride and they can take out, a couple $1,000s to supplement or something, and they don't use that 529 money, it's still theirs, right? They can still use it. And you can also transfer the beneficiary. So like if your oldest daughter gets a full ride and your youngest daughter doesn't, you can transfer it and vice versa. So
I don't have to get separate plans for each one of them?
You do need to have some.
Okay.
I would recommend, having a separate 529 account for each of them.
Mm-hmm.
But you can change the beneficiary later.
Mm-hmm.
And you can keep the same beneficiary.
Mm-hmm.
And they can use that money for retirement if they don't use it for college.
Okay.
So there's a lot of flexibility there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But first priority is you.
Right. Okay, yes.
And I'm going to say this, like, when your parents don't appropriately save for retirement and they're not ready for retirement, They have regrets. You know, I should have saved earlier. I should have saved more. Honestly, this is my mom right now. And it's stressful for me, right? Helping my mom figure out how she's going to pay for retirement, when she can afford to retire. She's tired. She's sick of working, but she can't stop working because she didn't save appropriately. And this happens to a lot of parents and to a lot of kids who experience this. It's like, I wish you would have done it sooner. I wish you would have done it. So while you might think it's selfish of you, you know, you want to put your girls first, you want what's best for them, trust me, like in 20 years when you can retire and they don't have to help you or scramble to figure out how they're going to pay for it, you are helping them by helping yourself.
I know you're right, because my mama lives with me.
Exactly.
Yes. And
so let's break the cycle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's break that cycle. Okay. So along the same vein, what I recommend to help you jumpstart that retirement savings is you already have an existing IRA, which you took the big step and got the money into an account. Set up an automatic transfer, even if it's $25 a month or something. Just get it going. Get it in there.
First, I have to choose what I'm going to invest in.
Yes.
And you had mentioned some things, and so I'm going to do that first. And then I do okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
So for what to invest in, a really simple way, if you're not sure, if you're a beginner, is to do a target date fund for retirement. You know, I'm hoping to retire in 2060, let's say. There's a target date fund where they're going to invest in a bunch of different asset classes on your behalf. And that money, the asset classes will adjust according to the date. So in the beginning, they'll be more aggressive, like more stocks and riskier things. And then as you get closer to retirement age, they'll automatically adjust and you will be in like more safer investments, like more bonds or, you know, treasuries or even cash. And so they'll automatically adjust it for you over time to where in the beginning it's growth focused and toward retirement, it's income preservation focused. So it's a super easy way.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Even my 401k is it's in a target date fund because it's like, that's a lot of money. It's so far away. I don't want to have to think about it. Done and done. And then the next thing would be to open the solo 401k.
What? I'm gonna open something else?
Once we free up the debt payments. So the solo 401k as a solo.
So this is like in 3 or 4 years. Girl.
I think in 2026, but we can talk about it.
Okay.
We can talk about it.
All right.
The thing with the solo 401k is, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you have access to this. It's arguably better than a regular 401k because as the business owner and the employee, you can contribute to this account from both sides. You can contribute the employer portion and the employee portion. Which
it's like a double mine.
Exactly. And that just will set you up amazingly in retirement. And yes, maybe you can't afford, obviously, to max it out right now while your focus is the debt payoff. But like I said before, you get it open. It's a mental hurdle you can get over. You open it. And even if you're putting in $25 a month, just get those transactions set up. That way, as you snowball that debt away, you're like, what am I going to do with this money? You have the option to say, I'm going to increase my 401k contribution or not. You know, maybe it's the IRA, maybe it's another family trip, but that's like a decision you can make. And it'll be so much easier once you have that account set up. And even if you're putting in a small amount in the beginning, it's going to grow for you over time. So I recommend that. Okay. Now let's talk about your debt-free life. Because I know I gave you a lot of steps, a lot of to-dos.
Yes.
But like I said, you're not doing it all right now.
Right.
You don't have to do it all at once.
Yeah.
We're gonna go through one by one. But your debt-free life, once you're debt-free, you're gonna have so much money freed up, right?
Am I?
You're gonna have you're gonna have at least $1,500 a month freed up. Okay. And that's the minimum payments that are going toward your debt right now.
Right.
Hopefully, once you consolidate, once you have it in like the snowball order that you're going to attack it, you're going to put in a little bit more if it fits in the budget. And you're going to have like almost $2,000 a month. Suddenly, the debt is paid off. You got $2,000 a month now that you're going to you have for the future, right? For your future goals, your future vision. And you're going to use that to really start working and sort of supercharging your debt-free life. This, of course, is all after we have a big celebration party, a debt-free party for you.
Okay.
And so once you hit this point, my recommendation would be to put most of it toward your retirement.
Right.
Again, put about 25% of it toward the girls' college, because at this point we need a supercharge, right? And at this point, it's going to be 2028. I think your oldest is going to be in college by this point. And maybe that's not into her 529. Maybe that is onto her tuition bill, right? To help her. But that we can see cross that bridge when we come to it, kind of thing.
Okay.
And then also to finish your emergency fund. Like, I'm hoping your emergency fund is fully built out by this point, but if it's not, then finish that out as well. So that's the breakdown I recommend there.
Okay.
And then you're going to start maxing things out. With that 60% that you're putting toward your retirement, you're going to max out the 401k and solo 401, like the employee and employer contributions if you can.
Okay.
And you're going to ramp up for the 529 plans, right? You're going to ramp that up as well, especially for your youngest who won't be in college yet.
Right.
That way she'll have all the money that she needs by the time she gets to college. You're going to continue with your tax planning, whether that's individually or with me or with your CPA. And you're going to, maintain the joy in your life, right? Your 3 trips if you want, or even if, you had cut back on your trips previously, maybe this is the time you can ramp them back up.
Right.
But whatever that, sort of joyful part of your life looks like, you're really going to have that money freed up to be able to embrace that at this point.
Okay.
We're on the road.
Yes.
And then the next thing is is your long-term wealth building, right? So this is just sort of continuing what you've already built up to this point. You're debt-free at this point. You're maxing out your 401ks at this point. You got your tax, your business planning on autopilot. And you're really going to think about long-term estate planning. Like, what legacy do you want to leave for your girls? What does that look like? We didn't talk about wills and things like that in the beginning, but those are, auxiliary things that I recommend as well, setting up that now just in case anything happens. But at this point, we can look at your assets. We can do a reevaluation. Like, do I have, everything set up that I need? If you really do want to get your tiny home, we can talk about, starting a retirement home fund, whether it's a tiny home or a condo on the beach in Florida or whatever it is that you guys envision. It's time to set that up as well. Start saving for that. Start really envisioning like what your retirement life is going to look like and putting that into practice.
Okay.
So let's talk about the quick summary of the action steps. Build your foundation first. Yeah. Right? Mini emergency fund, your baseline budget, where you build in joy, you build in the debt pay down. Get your taxes in order. I know you got the payment plan going. What it sounds like really on this that you need to figure out is separating the finances again, to where it's not so murky and you can clearly see everything, because that's going to set you up for success on all of the rest of the things later. Right. Then from 2025 to 2028, we're going to really hit that debt snowball, pay off everything that you owe, right? All the credit card debt, the consumer debt. The IRS payments are on autopilot. We just got to budget those in until it's gone. Right. And along those same lines, that's also going to be additional money. Once that's paid off, that money is also going to be going in your pocket, right? So that's another thing to look forward to. Okay. And then we're going to build your safety net. We're going to take your mini buffer of emergency fund, grow it to a full-blown emergency fund. That way, if anything goes wrong at all ever in the future, you got the money to pay for it. Right. And then we're going to set up your smart investing. We're going to prioritize the retirement. We're still going to keep the girls in mind. We love them. We love them. So we're setting them up for mom to retire so they don't have to worry about you. True. Think about it like that. Yes. And then we are going to build up your investments. We are going to redirect all the debt payments previously Once they're paid off, we're redirecting them to your wealth building.
Okay.
Redirecting. And we're going to figure out your long-term plan. Business plan, so you have continuous clients. Tax planning, so we got, we're up on our tax payments, not getting behind. And of course, retirement, joy, all the things that make life worth living.
Yes.
That we're using money as a tool to achieve.
Right. I love that. All right.
How you feeling?
A little overwhelmed.
It's a lot.
But ready to get that first foundation part
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
And get it done at least by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Even though I see you have now to 30 days there. But I'm going to try.
This is the plan. This is the 5-year plan, right?
Yes.
We're talking from now to 2031.
Right.
It does sound like a lot, but baby steps can get you far.
Right.
Yeah. And you already said you check your bank accounts once a day. Or you said once a day, right?
Way too many times, I feel like.
So basically, these action steps are your baby steps. You think about it once a day already, and you have a positive outlook on it, right? You are like, I'm doing this for my future. I'm reframing the I gotta pay this bill into I'm paying this bill because it's gonna support my family. I'm lucky to have the money to pay this bill,
I am.
right?
Yep.
Which is already amazing. And you have success factors. These are your success factors. Like, you are financially aware. You have told me all of the podcasts and books that you've listened to and read.
Yes.
And so you already have the underlying foundational tools in your mind, right? So when I bring these things up and I'm like, this is what I recommend next, you're like, I know this.
Yes.
I know this.
Right. Yeah.
So really, you just got to stay motivated, right? You already have a clear vision of what you want. You have very specific goals, and you have a pretty good idea of what you're gonna need to make them happen, how much it's gonna be, and how long it's gonna take. And that is also a success factor, because a lot of people don't really know. A lot of people are waiting around in the uncertainty. You're like, I have a family. I want to retire. I want to pay off this debt. So, and you're motivated, right? And you already said you had parents who model good saving. They had some, positive influence on your life. So you do have an idea of what the future vision you want for your life. True. And all it really is going to take is to overcome those psychological barriers and stay motivated. And that's what we're going to work on together.
Okay.
We're going to break it down. You mentioned earlier, how much exactly do I need to retire?
Yeah.
We can figure that out.
Right.
How much, should I be paying on the debt? How much should I go to this? We talked about that.
Yeah.
Really just keeping at it, having weekly check-ins with yourself, with your husband, with me as a coach, whatever it's going to take to get you there. You have already the tools in place and you have the motivation. So it's going to happen for you.
Okay.
It really is.
If you say it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
We can make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, Nicolette, it was really good talking to you. Before we end, do you have any other questions for me?
No questions. Okay. That was amazing. Thank you for having me
on
and doing all this work for me. I really appreciate it. It's so worth it.
Of course. Thank you for being brave enough to, tackle this head on, for trusting me to share all of this information with me. I know it wasn't easy. And for being on the air with me to capture this moment, I greatly appreciate it. So thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you are new here, again, I'm Julie, your favorite finance sis, and I will catch you in the next video.